Hi, welcome back to my book club. If you're new here, hi, my name is Hunter, and together we're reading The Happiness Trap by Russ Harris. Today's video is Chapter 8, Frightening Images, Painful Memories. If you need caught up on the previous videos, head to the link in the description. And without further ado, let's get started. Roxy trembled. Multiple sclerosis, she whispered. Roxy was a 32-year-old lawyer who noticed weakness and numbness in her left leg, and within a few days she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. MS is, in short, a disease in which the nerves in the body degenerate, creating all sorts of physical problems. Not surprisingly, Roxy was very frightened by this diagnosis. She kept imagining herself in a wheelchair, her body horribly deformed, her mouth twisted and drooling. She tried telling herself all the usual common sense things. Don't worry, it will probably never happen to you. Or, what's the point of worrying about something that may never happen? But did this get rid of the scary image? Not in the least. Roxy found she could sometimes distract herself or push the image out of her head, but it wouldn't stay away for long. This commonly used struggle strategy is known as thought suppression, actively pushing distressing words or pictures out of our head. Unfortunately, while thought suppression comes naturally to us all, the research on this is crystal clear. In the short term, it makes distressing thoughts go away, but in the long term, there's a rebound effect, and they return with greater frequency and intensity than before. We see dramatic examples of this in trauma-related disorders. Many people find they can push these memories away through distraction, drugs, or alcohol, but in the long term, they return with a vengeance. Trauma aside, most of us have a tendency to get hooked by frightening images of the future or painful memories of the past. How often have you seen yourself failing, being rejected, or spent time dwelling on or reliving painful events from the past? If you're anything like me, the answer is a lot. Your mind creates these cognitions because it's trying hard to keep you safe. You need to be prepared for this. Don't let this happen or protect yourself. Your mind operates on the rule safety first, and it will never relinquish its number one job of looking out for you. We can waste a lot of precious time and energy if we respond to them in obey or struggle mode. Moreover, sometimes when we get hooked by these cognitions, they become so frightening that they can scare us away from doing the things we'd like to do. For example, many people avoid air travel, public speaking, or socializing because they get hooked by images of things going badly. When we are hooked by images or memories, we give them our undivided attention, react to them as if events they depict are currently happening, and treat them as threats we need to avoid or get rid of. In contrast, when we unhook from images and memories, we recognize their true nature, give them our full attention only when they are offering something of use, and realize no matter how unpleasant they may be, these images and memories are not threats. They can't actually harm us. Of course, these troublesome cognitions are accompanied by unpleasant emotions, urges, and sensations. And in later chapters, we'll look at how to deal with those feelings. For now, let's explore how to unhook from images and memories. First steps. Unhooking from images and memories is similar. Often noticing and naming is enough. I'm having the image of. I'm noticing a memory of. However, for terrifying images or truly horrible memories, your best bet is to drop anchor. After several rounds of ACE, acknowledge, connecting, and engaging, you'll likely unhook. But let's go further. Let's now look at some techniques that can help us see these cognitions for what they truly are, mental pictures that can't harm us. A word of caution. The playful techniques in this section are usually helpful for painful memories, such as times when you have failed or screwed up, been rejected, or done something you regret. But they are not appropriate for truly horrific memories. Stick to noticing, naming, and dropping anchor. And again, a reminder, do these exercises as experiments, genuinely curious as to what will happen. If you can't do a given technique or it doesn't work, acknowledge your disappointment and move on to a different one. The first, television screen. Bring up a difficult image or memory and notice how it's affecting you. Now imagine there's a small TV screen across the room from you. Place your image on the screen and play around with it. Flip it upside down, stretch it sideways, play it in slow motion, turn the color down so it's black and white, turn the color and brightness up until it's fluorescent. The idea is not to get rid of this image or memory, but to see it for what it is, a harmless picture. You may need to do this for anything from 10 seconds to a minute. If you're still hooked after that, try the next method. I wanted to say something quick because just like in our previous chapter with the music, something like a painful image on a TV is kind of like TV in real life, where sometimes we have the TV on, but we're not fully paying attention to it. We don't want to turn the TV off, but we don't have to give our full attention to it either. The next one, subtitles. Keep that cognition on the television screen and add a subtitle. For example, an image of you failing might be subtitled, "The Failure Story." If you're still hooked after 30 seconds, try the next technique, adding a soundtrack. We just keep building and building. Keep that cognition on the screen, add a musical soundtrack of your choice. And if the image still hooks you after that, move on to the next method, shifting locations. Imagine this cognition in a variety of different locations. Stay with each scenario for 20 seconds before shifting to a new one. Visualize it painting on a canvas. See it as a bumper sticker or as a tattoo on someone's back. Imagine it as a pop-up on a computer screen. Initially, we need to focus on these images in order to practice unhooking. But the ultimate aim is to be able to let these images come and go without giving them much attention, like having the television on in the background without really noticing it. I asked Roxy from earlier to do this practice daily, and within a week, that image of herself in a wheelchair was no longer bothering her. It still appeared from time to time, but it no longer frightened her. Paradoxically, the less she tried to push this image away, the less often it appeared. This was not the intention, but it's something that usually happens as a pleasing side effect. Exposure. In psychology jargon, the technical term for what you've just been doing is exposure. Exposure means deliberately getting in contact with difficult stuff so that you can learn more effective ways of responding to it. This difficult stuff may be in the external world, people, places, or situations, or your internal world, thoughts, emotions, or memories. Exposure is the single most powerful intervention in the entire field of psychology. Nothing has larger effects on human behavior, and almost everything in this book, at least to some extent, involves exposure. Going back to the concept of neuroplasticity, exposure enables you to lay new neural pathways on top of the old ones. Thus, when your old neural pathways fire up and those difficult thoughts and feelings reappear, your new neural pathways activate in response. Your new learning kicks in, and you unhook. Now time for the broken record. When you practice these techniques, your unpleasant images/memories will often disappear or lessen in frequency, and you will often feel much better. But these outcomes are bonuses, not the main aim. Enjoy them when they happen, but don't make them their main intention or you'll soon be disappointed. The aim of unhooking is to free you up, to do those toward moves and focus on what matters. If you use the techniques as intended, they'll keep you free from the happiness trap, and they'll also help you to appreciate the next chapter, the stage show of life. The thing I took most from this chapter was that analogy Harris used in the middle about the TV. I actually really like that because just like a TV in real life, we have all of these intrusive thoughts or memories or feelings, and we don't need to pay attention to them. You know, you can have the TV on in the background and you can choose to pay attention to it when it's something you like, but you don't have to be hooked to it. You don't have to sit in front of the TV. You can choose to get up and do something else. Thank you so much for reading this chapter with me. Make sure to like this video if you liked it and subscribe to my channel for next week when we go over chapter 9, the stage show of life. I'll see you next week.